On. Hopefully my live works here okay. You can hear me. I'm actually doing the live from up in my bedroom because my laptop is not working correctly. I don't know what I did to it. Anyway, I was trying to think about what to talk about today, and what came up for me is different passions and purposes. So when I'm working with women, it tends to they tend to be very confused as to which one they want to pursue. What I can say is that we all have different passions and purposes here in this life. We're not here for just one reason. But what I can tell you is that in order to find your purpose or your passion, let me rephrase that. In order to find your purpose, you have to start living with your passion. And what I mean by that is you have to find something that lights the fire inside of you, right? For me, my story in what I'm doing now is that I always knew that whenever I talked to people about their passions, I got really excited, like making money off of their purpose, right? Because that's the way that they can actually live their life fully. And that's what I'm all about, is living your life to the fullest extent. And for me, it was a step that I needed to take in order to fully take care of myself, right? I didn't want to be dependent on anyone else financially, including my bosses or companies. I grew up in a very codependent household, and I didn't want to be that. And so I had to choose what I wanted instead. So I'm actually reading this book, and it's called The Millionaire Master Plan. And it talks about the different stages that we have to go through in order to be successful. And the very, very bottom level, it kind of talks like being successful, depending on which level you define success by, that we have to start at victim level, right? We have to start by the struggle, right? We have to figure out what doesn't work for us. Most of us get stuck in that survivor victim mode, right? We blame other people that they're not listening to us, or we blame other people that they made us feel stupid, or that they're not giving us enough money, or we get in that victim. We're not getting the relationships that we want. Our partner isn't acting the way that we want them to, without choosing the things that will get us closer to our goal. So if something is holding you back from success, it's usually the choices that you've been making up until now, right? So we need to let go of the relationship stories. We need to let go of the money stories that we're holding on to. Specifically money stories when it comes to financial success, right? Because I grew up in a household that was like, don't spend too much money, or I remember when I was really little wanting some Barbies, and I got scolded for wanting Barbies. So I got scolded for something that I wanted, right? And so I always attributed that to, if I want something, that people are just going to judge me for it. So if I want more money, which is totally fine, that people are going to judge me for it. And that's not necessarily true, unless that person is judging you based on what they want, that they don't think that they're able to achieve. So therefore they judge you based upon it, right? So a lot of us in this lifetime stay in that lower end of that lighthouse. We stay in the lower end in victim survivor mode, right? We live paycheck to paycheck. We don't really know how to achieve more success in our life. And so then, if we change our mindset and we get past the stories that we've been telling ourselves, like it's their fault, or it's my boss's fault, or it's my family's fault that I am the way that I am, or I do the things that I do, or I'm in this economic, or whatever kind of stories you're telling yourself, right? Thanks, Abby. And then we move into worker and player, right? So we understand the thought process that if we serve or we do a job, that we can get paid for it, right? And we stay in that area for a little bit, and then we realize that the more that we provide or the more knowledge that we get, we can actually move up the totem pole in somebody else's company, right? So a lot of people, that's okay with them. It is okay for you to want to stay in your high income job, right? And then there's some of us like me that look at the corporate job and think, well, that's great. Yes, it's making me money, but I want more. I want to live a life of abundance and prosperity, right? I don't want to live paycheck to paycheck. I don't want to be constrained by the 9 to 5. And I want to sell something that I really, really believe in, right? Because we all know, if any of you are in sales positions, that if we're selling something that we actually don't care about, then it doesn't feel fulfilling. And for me, there's a few companies that I could have worked for, but I chose not to, right? I chose to pursue my passion in helping women achieve a prosperous and passionate life. And so that's where the vision comes in, right? So once you get past that worker and player stage, then you move into the performer and conductor stage, which is basically like, you know that you want to own your own business, you're ready to commit to yourself, and you start to learn the tools in order to get you out of the I'm working for somebody else stage, right? So you basically build a job for yourself. And so you understand that if you do something for somebody, again, you make money. But from now, it's a different perspective. When you were down here, now you're up here, right? And so you're doing something that you're passionate about, but you're not clear. So how do you start to work with all kinds of different people, right? And you don't have a niche, which is totally fine, because you need to work with different kinds of people to understand who you actually like working with. But you have to take that first step. You have to trust yourself enough to take that first step into, I'm going to provide this service. Let's see what happens, instead of being attached to the outcome, right? So then you start to work with people and you realize that you actually are getting really good results with it. That's essential. Your brilliance and your results are essential to the growth of you, your finances, and whatever kind of company that you're building. So once you do that and you've done it for a year or so, you get really clear on what you actually like doing best. And that's when you can niche down. And believe it or not, that's actually, you start your own company, niching down is actually above that. And the reason why is because when you niche down, you can actually streamline the process. So you're able to create content for that specific niche. So instead of, I started my own company, I do this thing, you're going out and you're finding your clients, right? But when you niche down, you're actually standing in your power and saying, this is what I do, come to me, right? And so there's I don't know, 4 trillion population or something like that. And you can reach them through all of the social channels, right? You have Instagram, you have Facebook, you have LinkedIn, you have YouTube, you have whatever works for you to then talk about it and amplify that message so that whoever you're talking to will come to you, because you now niche down and become an expert in something special. You cannot, it's like the difference between going from a general practitioner who doesn't really know what's going on, but will, they'll help you out with a sore throat, or, if you fall and you scrape yourself, then they'll stitch you up, right? Or we have the heart surgeons who make really good money doing something specific, which is why it's really important to niche down when you hit that part of your business, right? And then when you hit that part of your business and you niche down and you get all the streamlining process right, then you can start to hire, right? You can start to hire to build your company. So instead of you working for something, then you have a team working for one goal. Which is the niche. So then you can actually write down what you need. Sorry, my computer just went blank. Then you can write down what specific tasks, right? And then you can actually start to delegate. But you have to trust yourself and you have to step back out of your company and say, what do I actually need to delegate in order to slow down, in order to fill my cup? A lot of people stay stuck in, I'm going to do it all myself day by day by day. And then they make really good money, but they're burnt out and they can never get past that point where they're earning, 10 to 15K, 30K a month, but they can't grow any bigger because they don't think that they have enough money to hire out, or they're too busy to hire out, right? So they actually need to unlearn what they've learned and actually start to, yes, you need to learn all those things yourself. And then once you learn them, you can delegate them to the different parts, the essential parts of your company, whether it be marketing, sales, ad administration, whatever that might be. You need to delegate and then step out of your company. And when you step out of your company, then you can get to the next level. I personally haven't got to that next level yet. However, I know the things that I need to do in order to get there. So anybody who's working at those levels, I'm working with now. So I'm not going to make this too much longer. But the first step, like if you're stuck in wherever you're at right now, like just realize that at each step of the business way, there's always something that you need to learn and grow from. So if you think you have it all figured out, you actually don't. But the one thing is that in order to get to the next level, you have to work with somebody who's been there and who's done that and can help you as well. So that's something that I'm working with women in the Business Academy for. Is I have two different levels of women, right? I have the women who want to start up their own business and don't know how, or have started up their own business and are doing really well, but don't know how to niche down and then get to that next level where they can actually take a step back and ground and reboot themselves for the next level of their business. So I hope that helps. I hope you all have an amazing day, and we'll see you soon.